Welcome into the PHNX Suns VIP Lounge, brought to you as always by our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Lindsey, here with Espo. Gerald will join us in a little bit after hearing from Monty Williams as well as some of the players. And we are hanging out in the VIP Lounge because tonight the Phoenix Suns defeat the Timberwolves 125-116. This one got a little spicy, and we were all here for it.
Yeah, let me say it. If you shoot at the king, you best not miss.
You best not miss.
Because the Phoenix Suns are the best team in the NBA. Suck it, little man Karl-Anthony Towns. Suck it, Patrick Beverley. Suck it, Minnesota.
This one was, I just feel like this one, the outcome just felt even extra special. With all the spiciness that was going on in this game, with just, bad officiating at multiple points, and this one had a little extra oomph to it at the end. Like, there were and not to mention, there were so many memeable moments that came out of this game.
Oh, it is insane how testy's probably the best word that what this game was. I mean, Minnesota came out, they took that early lead, led for most of that first half, and then those final few minutes in that first half, the refs let everything get away from them. Yeah. They let it get too physical. They missed calls. They made bad calls. It just gets ugly, and that kind of set the tone. And I feel like Minnesota highly miscalculated because they thought they could get chirpy and that somehow that wasn't going to awaken the beast.
Right?
Like, I don't get it. Why do teams think that they can flex on the Suns early in a game and that it's not going to wake them up? The Suns easily could have just said, you know what? Who cares? It's the first half of a back-to-back. Minnesota has it fine. But no, Karl-Anthony Towns and Patrick Beverley decided to be total jackwads, and it reminded Campaign and Jae Crowder and Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, and even Landry Shamet, that this team has swag. They went out there and reminded everybody, oh, you think you got it? We're swaggier than anybody in this league. And they showed it on multiple occasions in that second half. This may be my favorite win of the year.
I mean, it's definitely up there, that's for sure, towards the top of the list. Boosty in the chat said that's the difference between a hot team and the best team. And then Devin's brother, Davon, on Twitter tweeted out, that's why you don't start celebrating after 24 minutes of the game. Oh. And it's like to your point, though, why do you think, or in what world does it make sense in your brain that egging this specific team on by getting a little spicy and talking your trash is going to do you any positive? Like, if anything, I think we've learned that this team takes things personally, that you don't even have to do anything. They are literally the Michael Jordan brain of the NBA right now as far as the team goes. You beat them one time. They take it personally, and they're going to come back and beat the hell out of you the next time. Okay. So you get a little spicy. It doesn't even have to be the next time. I know. It was like, you get a little spicy in the first half. You're going to get a whole thing in the second.
Did Minnesota, I mean, I know that they weren't part of the playoffs, so they must have been in Cancun or something last year during the first round. They must have forgotten when the Lakers started dancing on the sidelines and the Suns went, oh, hell no. We're not putting up with this shit. They must have forgot when Pat Bev shoved Chris Paul in the back, and the Suns were like, oh, hell no.
We remember. We remember.
Yeah, and the Phoenix Suns coming out of that locker room from halftime remembered that bullshit from the first half. Yes. That's for sure.
Yes, they did. All right, Espo, take us to the bar. What are we drinking tonight?
Let's go to the bar. We're having a frisky sour because this game was all sorts of frisky. And you get that great, I don't know why we decapitated him on the cup with Karl-Anthony Towns and Jae Crowder nose to nose. I mean, this looks like what happens after you've had like 5 or 10 of these kind of drinks and it's closing time and you're desperate is what this photo looks like. It looks like they're either going to kiss or fight, and I don't know which one. So,
well, okay.
I know. I know it was.
Shane said that's the point. Give me the play-by-play of how you saw that kerfuffle go down.
Well, Karl-Anthony Towns thought he had his big boy pants on, and he got a nice dunk, and I give him that. And then he decides to do the, oh, you're a little man, and he leans down and puts his hand about a foot off the court, staring at Jae Crowder. And we all know Spicy J ain't going to put up with that crap. So they come down the other end, and they're banging near the top of the key. And Karl-Anthony's cat's just kind of getting a little too physical, and they got face-to-face and started jawing. And my favorite part of it was Karl-Anthony Towns, they both get a double tech, right? And they turn around, and he starts pointing at his head, like somehow he's in Jae Crowder's head. And, do we have that video? Why don't we just show that video? And I'll walk us through this in real time. So you got them fighting here a little bit, pushing, shoving, and Jay just goes, yeah, I'm not putting up with that. Your breasts stink, too. And he says, Vanderbilt, get the hell off me. As Karl-Anthony Towns acting as if they won the championship, pointing at his head like, oh, I'm in Jae Crowder's head. No, guess what? You couldn't even rent real estate in Jae Crowder's head. I don't care how much money you make, Karl-Anthony Towns. The Suns were in your head, and you just did not realize it. That was the inception moment. That was the moment I tweeted it. I said, you do not poke the bear. You do not wake the Suns team up. Like, they had nothing to play for tonight, and you gave them all the motivation in the world. So, Karl-Anthony Towns, here's your flowers. Thank you for the victory.
I also love, Gerald did the math on this, and I can't remember what he said before he left, but I know when he comes back, he's going to have some thoughts on this as well. But I think he said something like after that argument, 3 points?
Only scored 3 points.
Karl-Anthony Towns, after that argument with Jae Crowder, where he was saying that he's in Jay's head, guess who only had 3 points for the remainder of the game? Karl-Anthony Towns.
I told you. Welcome to Inception.
Sounds like Jae Crowder is in your head, or Devin Booker, or all of them.
Planting ideas in there that you didn't even know you were having. The Phoenix Suns are just that much better. Now, look, I still don't want to face Minnesota in the first round because, it's like you're younger.
It would be a very tough series.
You're younger than me, but as a child of the 80s, we drove around in cars in the back seat with no seatbelts on, right? And sure, most of us got out of there no worse for wear, right? Most of us survived. But the chance for injury was much higher, and that's the way a first-round series with Minnesota or the Clippers would be. Yeah, it'd be 4 or 5 games, but the chance that somebody's coming out battered and bruised, pretty damn high.
Yeah, agreed. It would be a tough matchup, but it would be really fun and really entertaining because, tonight's game, it was a fun game. At least the back half of it was really fun. Good basketball. Like I said, lots of memeable moments, lots of highlight type of moments. Yeah. Lots of fun. But guys, guess what? Gerald Bourguet is here. He is going to give us an update on what he heard from Coach Monty Williams.
A lot of good stuff in this post-game presser from Monty. Obviously, he was proud of the way he talks a lot about mental stamina. So he was proud of the way that this team responded to adversity, to a chippy environment, all the foul stuff, the technicals, they fought through all of that. And he was talking about DA's career high 35 points. He said, he likes the way that he's worked at his game and was happy for him. But the biggest thing for him was that he was proud of the way that DA got all of his points within the system. Obviously, the 3 at the end to seal the deal is not something we typically see from DA, but the way that he was getting his stuff was all within the Suns' schemes. And we've talked so much about his mid-range stroke and how much that's improved since the All-Star break, how he's elevated his game in so many different areas. But tonight was a great example of it. And so I asked Monty, is there something about DA that he loves, he relishes these elite matchups? Because we've seen him go toe-to-toe with Giannis. He had, I think, a season high 30 against Giannis earlier this season, played really well against Joel Embiid. And then he comes out here against Karl-Anthony Towns, who is a guy who's been mentioned in conjunction with Ayton in the past as far as man, wouldn't it be cool if the Suns traded for Cat? And I feel like he takes those matchups seriously. And Monty was saying, look, he puts in the work, and that's the biggest thing. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he has a lot of respect for these guys like Jokic and all these elite bigs, and it brings out the best in him. So it's kind of cool that we keep seeing this trend with DA because, we can talk about the ebbs and flows of an 82 game season, but when you constantly get up for the elite matchups, that's a positive sign. And we saw it in the playoffs last year. And you also mentioned Landry Shamet shooting, which he had a classic Monty gem for us tonight, because he was talking about how his teammates keep encouraging Landry to shoot. They keep telling him, shoot the ball, even when he was struggling. And so he said, if everyone's calling you a donkey, you go buy yourself a saddle. So Landry kept shooting this whole time because everyone was telling him to keep shooting, and he's finally getting to a place where he's comfortable with where he is, which I guess is a donkey in this.
Am I missing something, or is that like an ism, or is that
no,
a
that's
thing?
Monty just said it.
Monty
You just made it up.
If somebody calls me a donkey, I'm going Patrick Beverly on. I'm not buying a saddle, all right? I get what you know. It's like if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's a duck.
Right,
There you
exactly.
go.
But
Okay.
it's a very Monty
off-brand.
version.
Yeah, it's the Costco version of that, I guess.
Oh my
you bring up
gosh.
the DA thing though. His previous career high was against Jokic.
Yes.
Too.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's 100% he gets up for these big games. But what I love the most about tonight, 14 boards, but it was 7 on the offensive glass, 7 on the defensive glass. He got it done. Now there were still moments where he was out of position, but that happens to all big men. But I loved that he was doing it on both sides of the floor on the rebound.
And Monty actually did talk about that because I think Dwayne asked him a question about the offensive rebounding and how DA was hitting the boards, and he said that's all Kevin Young. Kevin Young has really been stressing that with DA as far as working a little bit harder on the offensive glass, because especially early in the season and last year, DA was elite as an offensive rebounder, and then it kind of waned a little bit as the season wore on. But tonight he was fantastic on that front. Cat couldn't keep him off the glass, and Cat couldn't really do anything after the scuffle with Jae Crowder. I think he had 3 points and 3 rebounds the rest of the game after that. So not only did he piss off a team like the Phoenix Suns by poking the bear, but he didn't back up his shit talking at all.
Oh yeah, I called it Inception. He was pointing at his own head, but it was the Suns that were planting the idea for sure.
I mean, okay, so Gerald, Espo and I, before you joined us, we were pretty much just talking about that kind of stuff so far in this game. We haven't really got into any player specific.
Any basketball? No.
So before we do run down your thoughts on just kind of the spiciness of this game and how much you enjoyed it or did not enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously watching that game, it was probably frustrating for a lot of Suns fans after, you know, a 7-footer like Cat dunks on a 6'6" dude like Jae Crowder and hits him with the too small. Like, okay, like you realize what you're doing, right? Like there was no need for that, A. And B, you just ran the risk of pissing off the best team in the NBA that routinely turns games that don't seem like games into games. And the Suns had no reason really to that point to like wake up. Like that first half was ugly. We can all admit that. The Wolves outplayed them pretty clearly. And then after that, I think they outscored them by 22 in the second half. They outscored them by like 18 or 20 in the fourth quarter. Like they just gave them bulletin board material. You cannot give this team bulletin board material because they'll come at you. And especially Devin Booker, he was having a bad night. He started 4 for 12. And then in that third and fourth quarter, he just dominated down the stretch, steals, dunks, that 3 that he hit. Like they gave him material. You can never do that against the Suns.
Do you know what CAT stands for now?
What's that?
Kinda a twat.
Oh my God.
he was a dick tonight. Like
that broke Lindsey.
I used to genuinely think I enjoy watching him. I had fun tonight. I was like, no, Patrick Beverly has done something to this man, and I am not okay with what had happened.
Oh man,
that is so funny.
I wasn't expecting
one of
it.
my favorite words.
I
like,
wasn't
as an
ready for it.
insult, and I haven't heard it in so long.
I wasn't ready.
That's funny.
That's great. No, but I kind of agree with you though, because I feel like Cat is a good human being. He's a great basketball player, but like tonight and lately we've seen him jawing a little bit more, and it's kind of like, okay, enjoy the first winning stretch of your career that wasn't carried by Jimmy Butler if you want. But like, yeah, you know, the guy's been through a lot, so I get it. He's out there having fun, but at the same time, he was jawing a lot, and like, you don't do that in the first half against this team when the game is still within reach. If you're up by 30, go for it. Do whatever you want.
What have you done? Nothing.
Yeah.
You are in the play-in game right now,
Right.
and you are acting as if you have a right to be doing that. Like, even the Suns, who were Western Conference champs, have not acted like that unless provoked. You know.
I mean, it's probably a mix, not to play devil's advocate here.
But you will.
But I will a little bit. It probably makes them feel pretty good to even be able to compete with a team like the Suns like that. Granted, they're probably forgetting the fact that they're without two of their top players for this game as well, and Chris Paul and Cam Johnson, of course. But it's got to feel good when you're giving the best team in the NBA a run for their money. So I don't know.
Did I miss where the NBA is now giving out trophies in March for leading after a half against the number one team in the league?
It's the old trauma that I haven't dealt with yet from times where we used to be like that. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and name our Draft King of the game. Let's start handing out some flowers. DeAndre Ayton is our king of the game. He finished with a career-high 35 points and added in 14 rebounds there. As you mentioned, he reached that career high after knocking down a three-point shot, which just seems like, I don't know, kind of a little icing on the cake for DA, because that's become more of a thing and he's got in his bag lately.
It was a chef's kiss.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Like it's the perfect epitome of the evolution of DeAndre Ayton, right? He gets a career high and he does it hitting a three at the top of the key. He did it primarily with that hook shot and what he's been doing from the mid range and around the basket lately. This is a basically mail the tape in to your agent and say, point to this kind of night.
Give me that bag.
Give that man his money.
Yeah, DA was great tonight. I don't have much more to add to that because I feel like it was just another example of everything we've been talking about since the All-Star break, the way that he's risen to the occasion with Chris Paul out. There were serious doubts, especially after that first game. The first game out of the break, he only had like 6 points. And I think many of us were concerned, like, what is DA's offense going to look like without Chris Paul? Especially because Chris Paul had assisted on 45% of his made field goals to that point. And he's just answered the call. I think campaign and Devin Booker figuring things out a little bit has helped in that regard, obviously. But DA has become someone who can generate his own offense. Maybe not off the dribble but off the face up even. He's gotten better in that respect. So that's been huge for them. And like we've said, he just rises to the occasion against elite matchups, which is why, you look in the West, Nikola Jokic, Karl-Anthony Towns, some of these elite bigs, Anthony Davis that he might be up against. I'm not worried about any of them because he takes that challenge personally because of the respect that he has for them.
Which is also why I think a lot of us are really looking forward to the playoffs, because he does get up for these marquee matchups, and playoffs are nothing but marquee matchups.
Right.
And we saw it last year with DeAndre and what he was able to do during the playoffs. Now just imagine what this year's playoffs, after having that experience, after learning all of that, what he's going to look like in the playoffs this year. It's going to be really fun to watch.
It is. And the chat's mentioning Landry Shamet.
We'll get there.
Okay.
He will be mentioned. We're not overlooking.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I thought someone was coming to the podium. We're good.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, though, because I'm going to tell all of the college basketball fans about the latest offer from the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So you can join the action on the court during the biggest tournament of the year with DraftKings Sportsbook. Turn your team's victory into your own big win. New customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. It is that simple. If they win, you win with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So current users of the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you guys can also bet on college hoops with same-game parlays.
Same-game parlays?
Yeah, all you have to do is combine multiple bets from the same game, and if you hit, you're going to get an even bigger payout. The more you add, the more money you can win.
Maybe that's what the Timberwolves were trying to do. They thought if they hit, they'll make more money.
Hey. But apparently they weren't playing on the DraftKings Sportsbook app because they did not get any money tonight. But you can, so just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code PHNX. Bet just $5 on any college hoops team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. If they win, you win with the promo code PHNX this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. That is 21 and older only, Arizona only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 minimum deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. All right, gentlemen, it is time to give Landry Shamet all the flowers in the entire world. I'm so happy for Landry Shamet.
Shane, release the flowers from the ceiling, please. We've been holding them up there.
I don't know why it's not working. It's not coming down.
Damn.
Dang
Cheap ass budget. That's just asbestos. I apologize.
No. Landry Shamet had himself a game, though. Like, he's been doing this for a couple nights in a row now. He finished with 19 points. He was 5 of 9 from deep tonight. Like, Landry Shamet contributed very well tonight, especially offensively.
He has been lately, too. I mean, he's been hitting that shot consistently. He's been playing smart basketball, and I think he's earning himself playoff minutes. Now, they won't be extensive, but if he's a guy, and we've said this all year, if he gets in a groove and he's a guy that can hit 1 or 2 open threes or go on one of those hot stretches in a 5-10-minute span, he could shift a game in a playoff series, and he's living up to that over the last week or so. I totally give all the credit to Saul not being here, so we may have to ban him from the playoffs as well, just to make sure Landry. But, that's what we'll have to do.
We might have to.
Speaking of Landry Shamet, he just got to the podium, so I will be right back.
All right.
Code in the chat, dropping a $9.99 super chat. I assume that's in honor of Jae Crowder getting in Karl-Anthony Towns' head. He says, better call Saul. Shamet has been balling, and that is true. Maybe we will do that. Maybe probably not tomorrow night, but maybe in one of these games, if he's not here and Shamet has a good night, we literally will call Saul on the air and make him do a mea culpa for all his Shamet slander, that's a tough phrase to say.
I'm in support of this, absolutely. I think he tried on Sunday, but our connection was bad and we weren't able to get Saul in on the show. But hopefully Saul will be able to come and witness one of these type of games for himself. I can't figure out quite what it is. I don't know. Is it Saul? Is it Landry? Which one of them is the drama? Because why can't they both be on at the same time?
That is a fair question.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a fair question. But no, in all seriousness, though, I am so happy for Landry Shamet to start finding this groove, because I legitimately started feeling bad for the guy. I know we had some fun with it. We questioned the contract at times, but I genuinely felt bad because he was getting good looks. The shot looked good and it wouldn't fall. And I can't imagine how frustrating that is for a guy. We've talked about this in the past. So it is great to see him actually hitting those shots and playing impactful basketball for this team now.
Yeah. I mean, and I just think too, like, you couldn't have picked a better time for Landry to kind of figure it out. I mean, I guess realistically from the jump would have been nice, but if you had to, like, this is a good time. Like, players are missing, next man up mentality. You knew that you were going to have to make up some offense, not only in Chris Paul's absence, but now with Cam Johnson having been out for almost a double-digit games. Has it been like 9 games now that he's missed?
3 weeks as of today.
Yeah, that's a long time, and that's a lot of offense that you are missing from those two guys specifically. But beyond that, even other players who have been out over the last handful of weeks. And we've seen Landry Shamet step up to the plate. We've seen his confidence finally reach his ability. And this is something that you really need heading into the playoffs from Landry, because in the event that you do need to turn to him, or you do need somebody to come out and knock down a few big buckets to kind of add a little bit of energy back into this group, you can rely on him now, or at least you feel like that he is capable of doing that, and you have proof. So not only can you put him out there in that position and hope that he does it, but you're more easily able to hype him up and fuel him as well as his teammates and his coach, because you see and you believe what he's been able to do.
Well, look, and nobody's going to care what you did in October, November, December, January if you hit shots in March, April, May, and June, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody will say crap about that contract if he hits at this clip and he hits some key 3-pointers in the playoffs. all that'll be in the past. All that'll be forgiven. I could see him becoming one of those fringe guys that becomes a fan favorite because of what he does in a single run here. So good on Landry. Keep it going now. Keep it where you're just hitting consistently from beyond the arc, and you'll win over fans here in Phoenix, no problem.
Absolutely. I mean, we can see it in our chat right now. The Cope Crazies, everyone in here is talking about Shamet's been shooting. Really happy for Landry Shamet right now. Like, give that man his flowers. Like, our chat is going crazy for Landry Shamet. And I just think that because this has been one of the kind of maybe more sour points of the season is Landry Shamet's play. Now that things have turned the corner for him, this is a good storyline for us as fans. Like, we can hop on this and really enjoy cheering him on more because we saw the struggles at the beginning of the season. And now we're finally like being able to, reap the fruits of our labors?
Sure.
Is that what it is?
Sure. I don't know.
I don't know.
That sounds like farming. And as you can tell, I've never put in a hard day labor in my life. So I don't know. Sure. Reap the fruits of our rewards. I don't know.
Something
Let's
like
just
that.
Mash up all sorts of sayings.
I don't know. That's fine. All right. We also have to give some flowers to Devin Booker, the one, the only. We're going to start by taking our shot. It is time, Espo, for you to take your shot. Presented by Arizona Department of Health Services. COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for a booster. Visit azhealth.gov for a location near you.
Speaking of boosters, Devin Armani Booker gave the Suns the boost they need as he came down and he dunked in Russell. I almost said Russell Westbrook. It's so good of a dunk. He dunked on a guy who wasn't even playing. No, he had a D-Lo. Thank you. I dunked on him. He said, "F them kids, F them Minnesota kids." He was not having what the Timberwolves were trying to serve tonight. He went up there and he threw it down big, and that was the ceiling of the deal there. Can we watch it one more time, Shane? Here as we take
if you unfortunately were not able to watch this game, you have to go to Twitter and look at this highlight because it was a thing of beauty. The amount of like sass in Devin Booker during this dunk and afterwards, he even got teed up afterwards. Yeah. Which by all means, give the man the tech if you want to, but I still think it's lame because if you throw down a dunk like that, you should be allowed to talk some shit. I'm just saying.
I loved that so much. If I had the money, I'd pay Book's fine for that tag. That's how much I loved that. I loved the jawing. We got to find the other angle of it too, because I want to read Book's lips. I want to know what he was saying to D'Angelo Russell, what he was saying to Minnesota. And you gotta love that Jay's laughing his ass off and screaming that whole time. I love the only thing that we needed more was Jay doing the little man sign after that. That was the only way that could have capped off any better than that.
So according to Gerald, who is talking to Devin Booker right now, he'll bring more insight for us. But he said that Devin said he was actually screaming at his own bench when he got the tech for dunking over D'Lo, especially because, quote, "I don't usually dunk." So apparently Devin was talking to his teammates, not the opposing team.
He was shouting, "I told you MFers I can actually dunk."
Something like that. But I do. If you guys are really good at lip reading, please let us know what you think Devin said after that dunk, because that was the first thing out of my mouth when I saw it. I was like, I want to know exactly what he just said right now.
We're gonna do some bad lip reading videos on that. We're gonna have some fun with what D-Book was yelling.
That could be really enjoyable. I'm not even gonna lie. That could be a lot of fun. But yeah, like Gerald said earlier, Devin not having the best start of the night. It was really cool to see him turn around and have moments like that dunk, and just really add some energy into this game. He finished with 28 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds. He also had a steal in there. So all in all, a really good night for Devin.
Well, and like Gerald talked about, he was fairly non-existent in the first half. All this comes in the third and fourth quarter where he really heated up and kind of just got out there and made it very clear that this is his world. The rest of the players out there are just living in it, and I love that he's making a point about how impactful and how important he is with this team. By the way, I love. We talked with Chris Vernon yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And he talked about how, well, is Chris Paul might have taken some of the shine from Book, and I get it. That's the national perspective. But a game like tonight shows you who the heart, the soul, and the real MVP of this team is. It's Devin Booker. He's the engine that makes everything go.
Well, and yeah, if you haven't heard that interview with Chris Vernon, it's the last podcast we posted, so be sure to go check that out on our feed. It's pretty good.
No, it's not pretty good. It's damn good. All right, it's entertaining.
It's pretty
Chris
good.
Vernon, if you don't know him from The Ringer and from Grind Season Media, he's damn hilarious, and we were okay. So go check it out. If you don't like us, you'll at least like Chris.
I was just, I didn't want to gas myself up
It's
too
okay.
much there.
The interview part sucked, but the interviewee, he was spectacular.
Lindsey's like, honestly, it wasn't my favorite, but you should watch it.
Anyway, what was I going to say? What were we talking about? Chris Paul, Devin Booker? Oh, that's what he was saying. One of the big things that stood out to me from that interview with Vernon was basically he said, because the timing of when Chris Paul came to Phoenix, it's easy to overlook the growth and development of Devin, of DeAndre, of Mikal, from Cam Johnson, literally every single person on this team. It's much easier for people who maybe haven't been paying as close of attention as the rest of us to just say, oh, well, it happened because Chris came here. That's when the change happened. He's the guy to give all the credit to for that. When in reality, those of us who watch night in and night out see, yeah, Chris Paul did have a big impact on this team. But the way that Devin has stepped up and sacrificed, the amount of growth that Devin has shown over the last couple seasons is also tremendous. Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, DeAndre, and the rest of the cast and crew have also grown and developed so much. And that's truly what's at the heart of this.
But and I don't think this was what Chris was saying on the show, but I think part of the reason that narrative happens is because a lot of people haven't watched the evolution of this team, haven't watched the evolution of Devin Booker. If you just look at a box score, that's the simple conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Chris Paul is the reason, and you even see Devin Booker's stats dropped a little bit points-wise. Well, if you watched this, if you've watched the evolution, and we're preaching to the choir here, we
know y'all get it.
Yeah, we see, and you understand how much Devin Booker has been instrumental. And without him, Chris Paul makes this a nice team, but they're not a great team without what Devin Booker's done. And this culture, a lot of that is given credit to Chris Paul and Monty and James Jones, and they all deserve some of that. But Devin Booker started this culture. The work ethic, the passion, and the desire to be in Phoenix are all because of Devin Booker and what he wanted to do.
Yeah, it all started with Devin. Every single last piece of this puzzle started with Devin. All right, one more time, because I don't think I said it twice. COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for a booster. Visit azhealth.gov for a location near you. Espo, do you want to talk about anybody else? Do you want to hand out some more flowers? I'm going to give you the bouquet right now.
I want to hand out flowers to the entire roster.
Okay.
Like I said, tonight would have been an easy night to pack it in.
Mm-hmm.
Go, you know what? Not our night. Minnesota playing well. They didn't. They took things personally. They came out. The effort was there. And they did it with, not as many minutes tonight. Mikal Bridges only has 39 after playing.
I mean, thank God.
Yeah, he played 50 and played 48 before a couple games ago. But, even Devin only plays 35. But this was a complete effort. It would have been an easy way to fold things in. But this is the kind of game that gets you ready for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It was chippy. There was shitty refereeing, which is inevitable in the playoffs. There were distractions. There's chirping. There's dirty plays. There's a crowd that was very much into it and even jawing. If you go look at our Twitter page, you can see Devin Booker jawing back a little bit at him. Like, this was a playoff atmosphere, and they did what champions do. You take the punch because you know it's coming, and in the playoffs you see it. There's always a run. It's never, rarely is it a blowout for either team. You take the body blow and you come back and you deliver the knockout blow. That's what this Phoenix Suns team does, and does so well. And they're doing it without Chris Paul, Campaign, and the legend Frank Kaminsky.
Johnson.
Or did I say Campaign?
Yeah.
Cam Johnson and the legend Frank Kaminsky. So look, that's what's so impressive. So lock in. The magic number's 1.
Mm-hmm.
Any Memphis loss, any Phoenix win, and that's home court throughout the playoffs. That's the 1 seed in the West. You've accomplished that. What is it? It's now, or is that win 59 tonight or 58? I think it was 59. You're 4 wins away from setting the franchise all-time record. And then buckle up, because we are just a handful of weeks away from going back on that magic carpet ride we all enjoyed so much last summer. And I think we're getting close to potentially seeing something we've never seen before.
Yes, it's gonna be really cool. This is just another reminder that we did a couple nights ago to just take this in and really truly enjoy it for what it is, because this is special. Yeah. And I do think one thing too that was really cool from today's game or tonight's game was that, pregame we were kind of talking like, what's the motivation here for this team? They don't really like the magic number was 2 before this game started. We knew that, let's be honest, we knew it was a lock to lock in the 1 seed. Mm-hmm. It was inevitable that the Suns would be able to do that. But we were just saying, like, what's the motivation? And then on our side of things, I was like, from a fan perspective, for me, it's, I want to see how these guys without Chris Paul perform against a better team in the league. And that was one of the things that I think stood out the most to me, was that, they didn't even start out great. They just started out pretty poorly for what our expectations are. Yeah. And they were still able to, without Chris Paul, turn things on, turn it around, and get a W. And I think that's really important growth. That even without Chris Paul, and that, like, he is the main veteran on this team, right? That veteran leadership, you already have that ingrained in your brain that you can flip the switch, that you can turn it around and come back and win a game in the second half, which is something that young teams, it takes a long time to learn that. And this team has proven that they have learned that.
And you can tell that they take every game as a potential lesson. Mm-hmm. Every quarter, really. And they look at it and they grow from it each step of the way. And heck, we've even buried one of the more impressive things tonight about Devin Booker. That we
I keep forgetting. I meant to bring it up in pregame too, and I totally forgot.
So, we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, overall, I'm running out of things, which is terrible because I'm paid per word. Most of you don't know that. I'm paid per word, and I'm running out of things to say about this team because I feel like we've almost said everything you can until we get to the playoffs at this point.
Well, because they've been doing it all season long. Yes. That's what's the cool thing about this. All right, so we were burying the lead with Devin Booker because that was my bad. I forgot. Thank you all for reminding us in the chat. So Devin Booker became the 4th youngest player in NBA history tonight to reach 11,000 career points. He's 25 years and 144 days old. The only 3 players in NBA history to be able to do that quicker than Devin: LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, that's a block you want to live on. That's property value that's high.
Mount Rushmore of Mount Rushmores. Like, you can't get any... You really, unless you throw MJ in there, really can't add anybody else to that list.
But Lindsey, he's not an MVP candidate. Really, he's not an all-NBA player.
He's really just not even that good at all. Let's be real.
Really, I don't see why anybody in Phoenix really is all up in arms that he doesn't get attention. That's not that impressive.
It's not.
It's Kobe, it's KD, it's LeBron, whatever.
Who are even them?
Not anything that, I wouldn't even write home about that. I mean,
Oh,
call me when you
gosh.
pass, somebody less, more impressive than that.
Did you tweet out that video?
The what he said to
No,
the
the one that Jacob made.
Oh no, that's coming tomorrow.
Oh, fun!
That's
We have a
coming
really
tomorrow.
cool video that our one of our producers, Jacob, made for you guys. That's coming on our Twitter page. I loved it when I got a sneak peek of it today.
Hey,
So,
hey, don't do Jacob like that. The producer.
oh, sorry,
Not one of our
the
Hey,
producer.
let's not give Jacob all the credit. I came up with the idea. He just edited the thing. All right.
Well,
Jeez.
either way, it's really fun. So make sure you are following us on Twitter so that you don't miss out on it. PHNX_Suns. And we got some really exciting news for you guys because guess who's back?
Guess who's back?
Gerald.
Back
And Gerald was able to talk
Earth
to
is back.
all the men of the hour.
I was.
You got to talk to Landry, Devin, and DA.
I did.
So let's start with Landry Shamet.
Yeah, the big thing that stands out is every time we've asked Landry after the All-Star break, like, what's been working for you? Is it like satisfying to see your shot going down after the way you kind of struggled earlier in the season? He's always said it's not about me. It's about the offense. It's about how we're doing as a team, all that, typical player speak.
Mm-hmm.
But he did talk tonight about how much it means to him to have the support of his teammates who continually encourage him to shoot. Because as a shooter, it is a lot of the time mental because you can get in your head about your form, your release, your rotation, just, the way you set your feet, all of that. And it can be very mechanical process and tweaking certain things. But when you have that encouragement, like Monty was saying, not calling him a donkey, but the whole donkey.
Oh, he threw
metaphor.
that saddle on and
Yeah.
he rode tonight. He rode.
Montyisms crack me up, but
He's so silly.
But he was saying how much that encouragement means to him and how much it kind of fuels him because you can get in your own head in those types of situations. And he said when he first joined the team, he had high expectations for this group, but what they're striving for now is kind of bigger than what he thought it would be. Going for that 1 seed, going for the franchise record, and going for a championship. Those are all really cool things that this team is obviously chasing right now. And yeah, I'm happy for him because I know just the body language talking to him now
You can see a
versus
difference.
it's night and day. Like he was very stressed out and for obvious reasons, he was taking a ton of flack on social media, obviously.
On this show.
Yes,
Yeah.
on this show.
Not that he's watching.
We owe you an apology, Landry.
But
we all right.
We're-
Anyways, continue.
You said it, not me.
but I'm happy for him because I had written about this right before he came back. Like, when was the law of averages going to kick in? It's finally kicking in. I think he is 37 for 85 from 3-point range since the All-Star break, which is about 43.5%, which is really good. He's a career 39% 3-point shooter, which is good as it is. So that's finally kicking in for him, and it's great to see because this team was already dangerous with Shamet kind of being dead weight on the offensive end. And now if he's able to shoot at that clip, even in limited minutes, nobody's beating this team 4 out of 7 times.
Yeah. Who else did you get to talk to? And did any of them slander the Timberwolves?
Not direct, a little bit. So the slander from
I'll
the
take a little bit.
The
I'm not
biggest thing,
picky.
the biggest thing of slander that we got from post game tonight was DeAndre Ayton, because we were asking him, the way that this team responded to adversity in a playoff like environment. He was saying, like, look, we've been here 1,000 times. That's what teams got to understand. Like, maybe this is the first time you've heard your crowd that loud, but like we're used to it. So he kind of threw a subtle jab in there. Yeah. Which that place is going to be rocking if they do meet in a playoff series after
I
that
love
quote
that.
now. But yeah, he slightly threw him under the bus. And for good reason. The Timberwolves have not had a high attendance or reason to turn up in numbers until recent years. So whatever. But Devin Booker, we asked him about the taunting and the screaming after the dunk that he had over D'Angelo Russell. And he said, I was screaming at my own bench because they know.
Did you say bullshit? Yeah.
I mean, I had my hand up, but I was muted, so I couldn't
You're
tell.
like, Devin,
I
Just
couldn't
write
tell
it on
Devin.
a sheet of paper and hold it up. I mean, come on.
Oddly enough, I did not have the courage to tell Devin Booker bullshit. But
I mean, honestly, do you believe that?
I mean, the Suns bench was behind him. I
So
think
was D'Angelo Russell.
It's possible. He said playing against that team, it's two guys that he really loves and respects in Cat and D'Angelo Russell. And he was saying he was yelling at the Suns bench because I don't dunk often. So when I do dunk, I get up. And it's something we've heard from Mikal Bridges too. Like he doesn't talk to the other team. He talks to his own bench because that's what Jay Wright taught him. These could be very. Mikal. I believe it with Mikal more than Book.
I don't believe it with Devin at all. Yeah. The look. I mean, you could just the sass on his face when he was talking. That was not something that you were saying to your bench.
Molasses.
He might have been saying it to his bench, but it was directed to the opponents. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, I mean it's.
I'm just saying.
He was saying it to the bench. He was saying it about the Timberwolves. He was
looking at the bench, but he wasn't talking to the bench. They were in the line
of fire. Yeah, the only way that could have been better is if he had hit D'Angelo Russell with the too small. Yeah, get some revenge. But
Jay needed to drop that. Like Jay should have just dropped out and given it to the whole bench over there.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
What a night.
He also, because Kellen asked him about that pass that he threw off the backboard to Mikal Bridges. He was saying, I'm not going to say whether it was intentional or not to go off the backboard, but I was trying to pass to Mikal Bridges.
So, beautiful pass.
Intentional or not, it was poetry.
Yeah, also, I call that more bullshit than he wasn't talking.
Espo's just not buying anything Book had to say today.
It's like, Devin, don't lie to us. We saw this game. Don't lie.
D-Book's got enough money. He doesn't need me to be buying what he's selling right now.
I will say, though, that play afterwards, their reactions to each other were priceless. Yeah. Like, those are going to be gifts for a long time coming. Like, that was precious.
The campaign shimmy when they finally got the lead back on the 3-point play. I mean, this game was a lot of moments that, if they do happen to meet later on, will be used and referenced
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a tidbit that Booker was being truthful on, outright truthful in your mind, Espo, he was asked obviously about being the 4th youngest player in NBA history to reach 11,000 career points, and the only 3 in front of him are LeBron, KD, and Kobe Bryant. And he was saying like that means a lot to him because those are 3 of the guys that he looked up to and grew up watching and wanted to be like when he got to the league. So that's a pretty cool moment for him. I know that we constantly do this every 1,000 points that he scores. We update the list, but it is really cool that he's continuously in elite company on that list. And I don't know how anybody can look at things like that and not think he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats.
Well, and he's within shouting distance of the Suns' all-time record now, which is 15,660, I believe.
Yeah.
He's at the top of so many Suns records already.
Yeah.
Like, this is his franchise.
Yes.
And if he remains a Phoenix Sun for the entirety of his career, it wouldn't surprise me if he's at the top of 99% of those career high things.
Right. Yeah.
Shamet,
the career leaderboard.
Could be happy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean he's going to be what Dirk was in Dallas, what Tim Duncan was in San Antonio, Kobe in LA. Like he is that guy as long as the Suns keep a competitive team around him and don't, go back to the depths from whence they came. Like he's going to be the all-time greatest Sun by the time his career is done.
Another fun night with him. When this team gets that pumped up, when you see that screaming, the flexing, the dancing, like there are a few things as enjoyable as that.
I agree.
So one thing from the comments, Connor, where were you at? Connor brought up something that I want you guys to give your opinions on. He said Jay had no right to talk trash tonight. He was awful.
Okay. Can I just go, or is there more?
Go ahead.
Okay. I was just sorry.
Go ahead.
I got so excited. I had to jump in. Look, Jay has a right because he's an integral part of a team with 59 wins. A team that's 9 games ahead of the next closest team in the league. Jae Crowder he's been to 2 straight finals as a player. Like Jae Crowder has earned that right. Especially when the main taunting from the opponent was directed at him. He has a right to celebrate his teammates and talk and back them up that way. I am perfectly 1,000% fine with that.
Right. And I don't even know that he was talking trash as much as telling him like, you don't do that shit to me, which I'm fine with as well, because That's what makes Jae Crowder and this team special is they have a little bite. They're not going to put up with being too smalled by anybody. You know, the fact that 6'11" Karl-Anthony Towns is doing that to 6'6" Jae Crowder anyway is lame as hell. But like to stand up for yourself and to give your team reason to wake the hell up, because up to that point in the game, the Suns were getting beat and they were getting beat good. And that moment flipped the switch. They went into halftime with a mission like, okay, you know, if they want to do that, that's fine. We've been here before. We're going to win this game. And all of the second half trash talk and jawing that we saw from Devin Booker, from everybody else, Ayton leaving his follow throughs up on a couple jumpers, that doesn't happen without Jae, I don't think. So he didn't have a great game. He had 5 fouls, 2 for 7, 5 points. Like, it was not a good Jae Crowder game, but that moment was the turning point in the game, and I'm fine with him sticking up for himself.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, though, Connor, in terms of, like, if you're not having a great game, do you really deserve to be able to be the one on the court to talk the trash? However, over the last year and change, we have been talking about that is one aspect of what Jae brings to this game that doesn't show up on the box score, right? He is that guy who will do something or kind of, he's the spark, right? Like, he's the one who comes out and gets people fired up again, or will cause some sort of drama, if you will, that will make this team perk back up and be like, oh, wait, you're right. We weren't there. We need to get there.
That's who he is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just Jae Crowder. So if this came from some guy, I hate to pick on him, but Elfrid Payton, let's say, right? and he did that after having nothing, and it's out of character, and he did nothing, fine. That may be problematic. But Jae Crowder's who he is. You don't ask Boss Man to change his stripes. That's who he is. He's going to go out there and he's going to do his thing, and I have no problem with it. I just don't. I don't see any issue with it.
You need the enforcer. If Jay's gonna salsa, you need a little bit of spice with that. That's what he brings. Like, that's what he does. I'm cool with it.
Mike B said he's the fire starter.
Yes. And as honestly, it's something that Monty's brought up before. He said, you know, we have an emotional group. We have guys that take things personally. We have guys that react to foul calls, that react to adversity. And he said the key for them is to know when to dial it back to where it doesn't hurt the team with texts or flagrants or stuff like that. But the way that they responded tonight, he was proud of. And he likes that they have that emotion and that they care so much. And Jae Crowder is a big part of that. So I'm cool with it.
I think I may have been a little too hard on Karl-Anthony Towns earlier.
Yeah.
Been thinking about it and sitting here. And when he leaned down and he did this, he was just showing what he was going to do the rest of the game. He was saying, not much, not much. Don't worry.
Okay.
Oh, the Karl-Anthony Towns shots have been...
I still can't get over the one off the top of the show.
That was great.
That was something else that I was not expecting. From Saul, I would have expected it. But from you, Espo, that one came out of left field.
Sometimes you just got to sneak up with those and surprise people.
A sleeper shot, for sure. All right, gentlemen, we have given out quite a few flowers tonight. We have talked about some really fun things. This was a really fun game for us, especially the second half, of course. Is there anything else from tonight's game that you'd like to talk about?
I'm good for tonight's game, but I got something I want to remind the people of. But Gerald, before I say anything else, you got anything?
Yeah, my last thing was just I liked what I heard from DeAndre Ayton in postgame tonight as well. It's something he's been hammering home these last few games, but you know, we asked about responding to adversity, all that. His performance, obviously, he was sitting there with the game ball, and he had the career high 35 points tonight. And his big thing was like, I don't care about the other side of the matchup. I don't care about the other team. Like, I am here to prepare for the playoffs. Like, that is my goal. We're preparing for playoffs. We're getting that into shape. We love having these types of games in these playoff-like environments because it gets us ready, and they're ramping up for something special this year. So, DA's head is in a good place right now, and it's been in a good place since Chris Paul went down. So once they get him back, I'm fascinated to see how this team just takes it to another level from what they've already been doing.
Yeah, they understand what they have in front of them and what opportunity is there. So I love that DA's in that mindset. If they bring a professional mindset, sure, they can have fun on the court or warming up, but they come lunch pail, let's get it done mentality as well, and I love it.
Right.
All
All right, Espo, floor is yours.
I want to remind the people, right, that we've got a very special thing coming up next Wednesday.
We do.
We do.
You think it's fun, just watching. Come down and participate. We're going to be at the Ainsworth on March 30th for Suns Warriors. We'll be out there. We'll be doing pregame live. We'll be doing postgame live. We'll be watching the game with you at the Ainsworth, and we're doing a very special charity aspect to it, both in person and in the super chat on YouTube for Ryan House. We're going to be taking donations, a great charity. Come on out, have some fun with us. We're going to drop the link to the RSVP in the chat here right now, but we would love to see you out there. We'd love to have some fun in person. We even told Gerald he can't travel. He's got to be there with us. So we're all going to be out there. We're going to have a good time. We're going to be dropping, we're going to be making some announcements, having some fun, and hopefully celebrating a big win for the best team in the NBA.
Yeah, I was questionable on the injury report for this event, but I won't be in San Francisco for that game. After all, I will be there. So all four of us, the whole PHNX Suns crew is going to be there. So please come out. It's for a good cause. Say hello to all of us. We would love to meet you guys and say hello.
Yes, definitely come. And if you cannot come,
Gerald,
don't worry.
Oh,
Gerald
son of a
will
bitch,
sign,
you guys.
Oh, no.
Gerald will sign girth photos just for you. Don't you worry.
Oh, I wasn't ready.
I don't think Lindsey was either.
I wasn't.
She's a bit verklempt.
I mean, let's not go down that road.
I think she choked on her drink. It's more accurate.
Anyway, hashtag Go Suns in the comments said, can we participate virtually? I'm in Illinois. The answer to that is yes. We are still going to be live on our YouTube page, both pregame and postgame. And every super chat from that night's shows will also be donated to the Ryan House. So you can participate whether in any way that you can. If you can join us on the live show, you can still donate. If you can join us in person at the Ainsworth, you can also still join us or participate. Sorry if that one got a little confusing.
Or we'll send you a picture of Saul's credit card. You can book a flight out. Whatever you want. We'll make it happen.
You can just mail a donation to Ryan House, whatever works. Any way that we can collect donations or give support to the Ryan House, we'll take it. They have a website. You can donate directly. It's all tax deductible. So, one way or the other, we're going to get them a lot of money to continue to do really cool things in our community. So whichever way you can participate, we're happy to have it. But if you can join us at the Ainsworth, be sure to RSVP so we can kind of plan ahead for some of the fun things that we might have in store for you.
You should literally go to the bar. Sorry, thought I'd try.
I mean, that kind of worked.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it.
We're late in the show, and I haven't eaten dinner. I got reservations I got to get to. We probably should wrap this up.
He's like, wrap this up. We got to go. Anything else, gentlemen?
No.
All right. So we told you about the Ainsworth. Our next show is tomorrow because the Suns are headed to Denver to take on the Nuggets. Gerald will be there as well, bringing us all kinds of nuggets from that game.
Literally, he'll be in Denver.
You see that? You see what I did there?
I see that.
So make sure you join us right back here on our YouTube channel. 5:30 pregame for you guys, and then postgame as well. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter at Lindsey Smith AZ. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourguet, and you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Remember, Patrick Beverley's dirtier than a Mill Avenue bathroom at 3 a.m. on a Saturday. Ahoy, hoy.
Oh, no.